The mysterious Jeremy joins us next for the 5 most rewatchable creepy movies ever made. Coming up next on EGE.
That's 5.
I think it's... I can't read! Quit fucking with my talent, Am.
Yes. Yes.
There's a reason why this beautiful mug's on this side of the camera. Jeremy, he works on our set design. He's working on a set of squibs for us right now. He's the kind of the background super technician guy. He built a lot of the red room tunnels that you'll see in 5 Must Die. Tentative title. It should be hopefully out by Halloween at red boxes everywhere. Anyway, he helps builds the sets and all of that. Say hi to the people.
Hello, people.
And of course, he's our sound man normally on these shows. But War Pig, piece of shit, pig. Hey, my character. He didn't show up. So anyway, also the blue screen for in our man shack. So it's all new. Okay, so. Triangle. You just watched the trailer for it. I just watched the movie Triangle from 2009. It's an English-made movie out by Icon. It's a group of kids goes out and premiered a triangle, gets hit by some Steven Spielberg-like effect, and then all hell breaks loose when a ghost ship comes and picks them up. Right?
Right.
Did you ever see the movie Ghost Ship? To immediately go off track.
Yes.
It's I think George Kennedy's in that. Couple other people are famous. Well, who else is in it? It's the same kind of thing.
It's
where
the
a
same
group they get hit by a wave, and they get a horrible old liner comes up, they get on it, and they get murdered one by one. And that's kind of what happens in Triangle, except it's a lot more twisty.
Modern take and
it's well shot. You can tell they didn't have a ton of money. But the leading lady, who I can't remember the name of, was very good in it. The whole cast is actually pretty good. Cinematography is good. And it's very twisty, very... it's a very rewatchable movie. So that would be my number 5, would be Triangle. What would be one that you like? Don't think too hard, Jerry. Well, this is movies. This is slam dunk shit. Come on.
Well, I watched so god awful terrible movies. It's so hard.
But one that you would actually like to rewatch because of different like twistiness or different ways to view it. Like,
you know what I do? I watch Unbreakable a lot, and I do watch The Village.
You do? Okay. See, The Village just makes it into my top 5.
The Village, yeah.
A lot of people shit on that movie, and I think that's unfair. I think the first half of that movie is incredibly strong. If you haven't seen The Village, fast forward to number 3.
You know,
because we're going to give away the ending. So the ending is it's all bullshit, and this ancient community is actually in some commune somewhere up north, upstate New York or something. Yeah. And they're actually living in the modern times, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So it's a gimmick.
Exactly.
So, the fun is to rewatch at least for me, to rewatch the film and see, like, are there any hints or clues about that?
Yeah, the blatant.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's been a while since I saw it, but that's an interesting film to me, one that I would want to rewatch just because of the gimmick ending. I know he gets a lot of shit. Like you said, now everyone expects a double ending from M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah. James Cameron is kind of guilty of the same thing. Yeah. There's never, how many different endings do you get?
Yeah, exactly.
But that said, it is still an entertaining, rewatchable film.
And people have to remember, it is a movie, and you are supposed to watch it and be entertained first and foremost. And sometimes, people just gripe and moan. And sometimes you don't need to do that. You just need to, accept it and maybe just enjoy, and
well, there's a lot of haters.
Yeah,
there's a lot of haters.
Yeah, plain out there are a lot of haters.
It's one thing to be like, riff tracks and hate it, or like the Nerd Crew or whatever Mike and those guys are calling themselves. It's one thing to kind of riff on movies and make fun of them because you love them. It's another thing to say, oh, that's just shit. Well, no, The Village was a pretty good movie. Yeah. It was pretty freaky when it came out. Yeah. The only thing that really makes it unbelievable to me is no airplanes.
Yeah.
How would they stop? I mean, at some point, some airplanes would go over where they were, and
even in a no-fly zone.
Right, it just would
even
happen.
Being in their no-fly zone.
A hot air balloon or something.
Yeah.
I mean, something would happen.
Yeah.
Some trash that said Snickers. What the fuck is Snickers?
Yeah,
I mean, just something would blow in there, and
Yeah.
that is a weakness of that film. It's not perfect, and neither is Triangle is. So there are some things but they're still freaky enough to be number 5 and number 4 and number 3. What's a I can crap these out all day long. So,
of course, on film you can't think of them, but 10 minutes ago you could.
with The Shining.
Oh, The Shining.
Did you say that's a rewatchable movie?
Of course, at least twice a year.
No, so we just watched it the other day because we're in love with anamorphic lenses, and we're just looking at any movie that was ever shot anamorphic, and the movie's so rewatchable, right? In part because it's like, well, when does Jack go full over to be insane? Was Jack always a ghost?
Yeah.
When the movie started, who exactly is Nicholson's character? And of course, just to look at the beautiful set design and crazy. I mean, just as a movie, it's super rewatchable. But for the creepiness, and then of course, when you get super meta and study the floor plans, where like the hallways will lead to nowhere if it actually made sense. Like when Jack first goes in to interview with the manager of the hotel. If you look how they walk in, that's actually he's sitting behind what should be an open hallway.
Right.
There should be a hallway, but clearly it's supposed to be the outside.
Exactly.
So there's all sorts of weird.
Just
and is that intentional, or is that no? That's just how we had to build the set, and then most people will never pick that up unless they watched it 100 times. Which is it makes it rewatch.
Plays well though also into the supernatural type part scenario of the movie also.
Well, right, but. It makes it
scary
unsettling.
also.
Right?
Yes.
There's a certain but was that intentional, or was it not? But that's one of the reasons why it's a rewatchable film is because you can look at the technique and you can look at the actual characters with Jack and everything like that. So there's not really there's no real twist in The Shining. I mean, Jack's gonna fucking kill his family at the very least from when he's like. I mean, that shot is just great when he just stares at the camera like a madman. It's like, Jack, you okay? You still with us over there?
The part, he's going to break, and he's going to break naturally or supernaturally, one way or the other during the movie, because he was crazy as it was. He had already been physically abusive towards his family.
There's also the idea that Kubrick faked the moon landings. Yeah. And there's all these hints to the moon landings in the movie, like the fact that the kid's wearing a hand-knit Apollo 11 space rocket. There's I guess there's just all sorts of clues about that all the way through the film. And one of the part of it is when you go back to 2001, some of the effects there look pretty dang good, at least for back then they did. And so, it fuels that. So anyway, that makes, to me, The Shining is the number 3 most rewatchable freaking movie. No, okay, so I kind of cut you off there for Unbreakable. Now, it's not a horror movie, so it doesn't quite fit the topic, which is why I skipped right past it. But I haven't seen that movie in a while, and I want to see it again just because movies have been so bad now. I'm sure that I will look at that movie and go, oh, that movie's actually better than I remember it being, because at the time when it came out, I was like, the main reason being, if you're a strong person, I'm a fairly strong person, that makes you different than almost anybody else, because most people are not ape-like strong. And it would be very hard for me to imagine that a man will not only know that he is much, much stronger than everyone else around him, he also is unable to get hurt. I mean, you were saying when I was doing that video of sawing off the lens, you're like, he's going to cut his thumb off. You know why? Because I could cut my thumb off. Yeah. And the idea that Bruce Willis figures out at age 39 or 40 that he is both super strong and never has been sick or cut. The honest thing is that Bruce Willis is probably about 25 years too old for that part. As good as he is in it, there's no way that a man of 40 cannot know that he has superpowers. It's totally fine, unless he was mentally impaired or something. So, Right, I mean, if he was, retarded.
Yeah.
He had a traumatic accident, maybe?
No, he can't have a traumatic accident. No. I mean,
Yeah,
he wasn't made that way.
He drowning. He drowned one time. That's the worst thing that's ever happened to him because.
And maybe because of that, that's how the movie tries to sell us. Well, see, he knew he almost died, so he never thought he was superpowered. Nah, he'd still know he's super strong. He'd still know he can pick up a car or move a fridge or grab 13, whatever the hell. It's unbelievable. Okay. It's the part of the movie that, for me, man, you had to do better than that. You had to Jim Cameron that up a little bit more. You had to explain, and tease that out exactly how that might be. Or like maybe when he has been hurt, he was by kryptonite or something. So he's got something that could convince this person that he was not always strong or not always powerful.
Other than when he was a child.
Or just not have that be part of the script. Just have him be a superhero, full-on superhero by that point. Right. And that makes Mr. Glass hate him even more.
Right.
Like, no, this man has saved New York again, Bill Johnson, the Incredible Mutant X. I know that makes it a different film, but it was really, really impossible to believe. So anyway, so that's why I didn't like that. Like The Village has some unbelievability to it, but that not as big as.
So are you saying then clearly that you're not going to appreciate Split?
Haven't seen it?
It's just same world. It's going to be it's the same world and same superpower M. Night Shyamalan world. So
okay.
So it's going to be this similar thing going on.
Now, did you ever watch Bates Motel?
Yes, I have.
Because the series finale just happened on Sunday or whatever. I love that show. I think it's a fantastic show. That's a very rewatchable show, in the realm of TV, is to go back and rewatch it. Just great performances, and it just that show just doesn't give a damn about what you think at all, and that's kind of fun. Yeah. All right, so number 2. Let's get to our number 2 movie. I think we both agree on this, and that'd be John Carpenter's
The Thing.
And we talk about The Thing all the
perfect.
time. We know it's near perfect film in almost every way. It is one of the things that at least people from our generation got us into movie making. And the rewatchability of that, of course, because it's a great movie, great action movie, great horror film, and, of course, to try to figure out who's who in that film. We've already done a segment at least on that.
Yeah.
On just at what point do the guys become aliens? Yep. Are the aliens at the end? Who is the first one to turn? Who's the second? I mean, you can rewatch that movie a dozen times and come up with different answers every time.
And you literally can beat it to death with a stick and change
your
mind. Yeah, you can change your thinking.
But because the film doesn't, it's not. Even though that is a gimmick of the film, it's not the main gimmick. The main gimmick is just. They are turning.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Now, the which ones happens when, that's kind of like for the fans to go back and watch. But in terms of the actual story, it doesn't rely upon who so much as just that continues to happen. Right. Yeah. And that clearly the alien is whittling away the human force.
Yes.
And they all are very aware of that. And, and there's even, Keith David or David Keith. I know I should be able to keep them apart. The one who graduated from Juilliard, says, if I was one of those things, would I even know it? When the 4 actually all humans at that point. It's weird how in that scene when they're all outside of Blair's shack in the day, if I was one of those things, how would you even know? Or would I even know? And then just look at each other like, we don't know. Yeah. That's a great moment in that film. Mm-hmm. And it turns out, if you watch the movie enough, that yes, they are actually all 4 humans. Yeah. They are actually the only 4 humans left in the story at that point. But you wouldn't know that unless you watch the movie several more times.
Yes.
But it doesn't need, you could just watch the thing once and go, oh my God, freaky, scary, gory ass movie. You would never have to go back into it. But because of the incredibly subtle way that film is lit by Dean Cundey, because, how John Carpenter frames all those scenes, like paintings, and the script by Bill Lancaster Jr.
And it's just they make it so claustrophobic in an area that is so big. I mean, you go into the Arctic where there's such nothingness outside.
They get it all right. It's all perfect.
And they put you in this such a small claustrophobic area in such a massive area. With such.
But even though it's small and intimate, there's only maybe 8 speaking characters, 7. You still don't know who did it.
Yeah.
Even though the movie's long and all that.
And you don't know who did it, and it just feels like it's an unbearable an unbearably huge task for one man.
So I think what makes the top 5 is both they're great movies and they're rewatchable just because they're such good movies, the way that any good movie, but also there is a gimmick to it. There is something either technically or otherwise that makes you want to watch. Okay, so now we're going to come back for our controversial number 1 pick. I don't think it'll be controversial for me, but maybe for him. Coming back in 1 moment. You can always come back. We're back. Jeremy said, this is the first time really being on camera, and he is such a fan of horror films that he's really having a hard time picking what would be his number 1 craziest, most rewatchable film. For me, I'm going to say what I think a lot of horror fans would say, and that is The Sixth Sense. M. Night Shyamalan makes 2 movies in the top 5 of rewatchability because, in part, that's how he's become world famous. Is he's very good at that twist ending, and of course, it was The Sixth Sense that got that going. Yeah. One of the things about that film is eminently watchable film. The performances are all very good, very believable. The photography by Tak Fujimoto is just amazing. It's the same. I think he was the DP on Silence of the Lambs, and we should talk about Jonathan Demme before this the show's over. Bruce Willis kind of was not that big at that time, but he came and did that movie, and it kind of kickstarted. He reminded you what a great actor Bruce Willis was, and of course the crazy twist ending. Again, if you haven't seen these movies, stop the tape and
don't listen. He's dead.
He's dead. He's a goddamn ghost the whole time. And how. Wow, because if you don't see that coming, you said you saw it coming, and I think most hardcore movie fans, about at least by an hour in, you're like, well, obviously we're about to be hit with a whammy. Even if you can't figure out what the whammy is, you're about to be hit by it. I'm sure some people watched that film and never saw the whammy coming at all, and to them it had to been like, oh my God, he was a ghost. It's a very strong film. Mm-hmm. In terms of all the technical things, the photography, the acting, the music is fantastic, and of course you have that built-in twisted ending. So I think for most people that would be their number 1. Now I think for my own personal number 1, if you discount the thing, I'd say any of the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Again, for the same reason, like who was in an alien when the original version. With who was in that? McCarthy? I can't remember. The fantastic performance.
They just bleed together. They're so well.
And he's actually in the remake with Donald Sutherland in 1979, and that is probably the strongest of all 3 of the films. It's a little slow. It was directed by Phil Kaufman, the same guy who directed The Right Stuff, but has none of the same pacing as The Right Stuff. It's a very slow film. Jeff Goldblum, one of his first movies.
It really was, huh?
It really was. Shit, he's very good in that. It's just a very solid one. And the one with Nicole Kidman, which I think is just called Invasion.
Invasion,
and
with, Daniel Craig.
It's a strong movie, too. And there are points in that film where, like, well, you don't know who's who. And that, in a way that's different than Kyle MacLachlan in The Hidden.
Yeah.
It's just that it doesn't matter so much. That's a fine, watchable film. But any one of those Invasions of the Body Snatcher style movies is better for rewatchability, at least for me. And, there was one other one that is... Well, Alien has a certain rewatchability because of Ash, like, to watch his performance again, to see, like, does he give off clues that he's a robot before he turns. So there are lots of... if you think about it, there are a lot of horror films that rely on that kind of twist. Like almost all of Twilight Zone relies upon having it's a cockbuck, the big whammy.
How to serve people.
And that's a cool thing about horror is it always lets the writer have a chance to save it in the bottom of the ninth by doing something kind of freaky at the end. It's one of the reasons why the book and the TV series are sort of spectacular failures is because at the end of the movie it's just a big brown spider that is an alien. Sorry, that's not scary.
Yeah.
And really, it's not very scary in The Lord of the Rings, so it's not. It should have been scarier than it was. I mean, even with the great CG and as amazing as Peter Jackson and Weta and all those guys are, that spider scene, it could have been better. It really could have been. And part of it is just, it's hard to believe a giant spider. Yeah. It's very hard to believe. Oh my God, no frogs.
Quiet on set, damn it. Quiet. Are you professional? No, I'm just playing. That was my impersonation.
Hit me with one.
Actually, you know what? Signs. Yeah. Mr.
Another M. Night.
Another M. Night. I was just thinking, you know what? No,
that's a very strong first half.
I didn't even think about it until you just. And I really do enjoy that movie. And even though it does seem very. It doesn't seem like it's got that very much going on for most people. It's not full of horror and it's not full of excitement and stuff like that. But it is very unnerving.
In the first half, it has what Close Encounters of the Third Kind has in the first half. Is it gives you a good sense of if you are a small family in a house in the middle of a cornfield in Kansas or Nebraska or someplace where it's nothing but wide open spaces. If you're a city person, that's scary all by itself. Yeah. Children of the Corn, the book and the thing, the movie that they made in the early 80s or whatever, gets a lot of juice just out of it's scary to be in the country if you're from the city. I'm a city boy. Anytime I go to the country, I'm werewolves are everywhere. Yeah, but not so much that people are good people, but werewolves. Goddamn right. I'm American Werewolf.
What you don't see,
I'm just not used to it. No. So then you throw in that there's something running up on the roof, and what the hell was that skittering around? And again, a thing in the corn. Exactly. It steals a little magic from Children of the Corn. Yeah. Now, and the bat, swing for the fences or whatever. Yeah. That's M. Night trying to, but I like a good wholesome message, and his movies are wholesome. And I enjoy that too. Now, I do not think that aliens would arrive naked on Earth and would be unable to open a door and not know that they were allergic to water, and also that Earth is covered in 75% to 80% water. I think these people would be smart enough to know that. So again, M. Night's movies kind of tend to fall apart because he does swing for the fences. I will give him that. He really does. And I'm glad that so this has kind of been like turned into the M. Night Shyamalan Love Fest, which it wasn't planned on to be.
Yeah,
but his films... Yeah. But the reality is that's how that guy made his bones. And he is one of the more famous directors that's alive right now. And part of that is because he takes advantage of horror's ability to have the twisty ending and people buy it.
You know what? And he tells us, I guess, sometimes you want to hear a story. It doesn't always have to be, an axe-wielding chainsaw murderer that's cutting you.
The Village isn't that at all.
Yeah, I mean... sometimes that's
there's Sixth Sense.
Sometimes you want something visceral and gory and nasty if you want to see a horror, and sometimes maybe you don't. Maybe you just want to see something that is just, something that's more personal, something that's smaller, maybe something that's more, just something that is more down to earth. Maybe I guess.
Well, something that ties into that is it's hard to do that. And it's hard, and it's part of why it's hard to tell a ghost story. Our fifth movie, which should be out in the next few months, or at least we'll be trying to sell it in the next few months, is ostensibly about a ghost or an insane spirit, something like that. And those are very hard stories to tell without, because you really don't have gore, because it's ghosts don't manifest for very long. Even in The Fog, they come, stab you, and then go. Right. Even in The Shining, at the very height of the power of the hotel, it has actual very little power in the real world. Yeah. The hotel, the most it ever does is pull the pin on the refrigerator that's holding Jack Nicholson after Shelley Duvall's conked him out on the stairway and dragged him in there, right? And then, she puts the pin in, and now he's locked in there.
Yeah, very limited.
All the ghosts do, all of the power of this most evil hotel are able to push one handle or pull one pin. Yeah. So it's hard to show a ghost going rampant for 90 minutes and just slaughtering people. It's hard. It has to be very small, like you say, and he pulls it off in Sixth Sense. So not only is it one of the hardest things to be scary in, a ghost movie, that's shot beautifully, all the technical stuff, he really
and you got to make someone give a shit about that individual, someone that's in there that's that character.
No, I
the
never
story's
saw.
about.
No, okay, I will say this: I never saw the M. Night Shyamalan movie where plants go crazy and kill people or whatever.
Oh yeah, with Mark Wahlberg.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, The Happening.
The Happening.
Well,
The Shatning.
I mean, I wouldn't want to see it again. I saw it once, and that's about it. So I mean,
So often you won't even notice. So, but you didn't like it. So you
I
know
didn't
you're
like
an
it.
M.
Lady in the Water, I thought was better, at least because it had the guy that had the muscle arm from lifting weights. I mean,
I never saw it.
I mean,
I never saw it.
that was about the best part of the movie. He had one strong arm. I mean,
Okay. So,
that was about it.
but the thing is this, and this is one thing that people have to understand. You swing for the fences, you're going to strike out sometimes. I mean, you can't always. Look, Steven Spielberg made Always. I mean, there are just sometimes you're going to have some clankers in there, and I don't hold that against him. You know, he's had a lot, and All right, so we'll do. We're going to do one little bit about Jonathan Demme coming up next, and then we'll preview our next show. All right, coming up next on EG. Look into my eye in despair. I consign you to oblivion. Okay, so welcome back to EGETV. Guest host Jeremy, who's standing in for Warpig, who shame on you.
Shame.
So our From the Vault has got to be, of course, Silence of the Lambs, because Jonathan Demme passed away this week. I think he was age 73 from throat cancer or something like that. He directed Philadelphia. He directed Manchurian Candidate. Directed a bunch of documentary musicals, including one for Bieber, one Burning Down the House.
Kenny
for
Chesney.
Did he do one for Chesney?
Yeah, he did one Chesney.
I saw a very weird career in that regard, that he did one of the greatest thrillers of all time in Silence of the Lambs, one that completely reinvented the crime drama. Almost every single crime show ever on TV, from CSI to Elementary, all the Dick Wolf shows. They're all in. What's the one that's on CBS? Oh, they're like an FBI team that goes.
One with Alex O'Lawton.
I don't know, but I mean, just all of them. They all are influenced by them. Beyond all the horror movies that have been influenced by Silence of the Lambs. What a fantastic! It completely made Anthony Hopkins a household name, which he was not before that film was made. He was, he had done The Elephant Man. He had part in The Elephant Man as the doctor.
Always incredible actor. But
but he had some problems in his career. I don't know if it's because he was drinking with Ian McShane and Peter O'Toole. I mean, seriously, I mean that whole gang, that whole generation of people were notoriously hard drinkers and not give a fuckers at all. And I think he was a part of that generation. And he needed something like Silence of the Lambs. And by God, but it was Jonathan Demme that cast him in that movie. I think Philadelphia's a strong film, but it plays more like a CBS family drama now. I mean, it's really is Silence of the Lambs is that one bam, and it's
truly terrifying parts
is.
of it. Still, a drama, thriller, horror, really horror is elements of it that are truly terrifying horror.
So From the Vault, if you haven't seen Silence of the Lambs in a while, go ahead and give that a shot. And it'll be funny both how good it is and how much everything has stolen from it. Psych has stolen from it. I mean, everything steals from it. I mean, it's such a great movie.
For Christ's sake, Monk. I mean, it puts it on the skin is in Monk.
I think I'm fairly sure Silence of the Lambs won Best Picture. I know it was nominated for Best Picture, and for a movie about a crazy serial killer to even be nominated for an Academy Award was. I mean, that's how great that film was. And Jodie Foster, I think, cemented
a movie
herself
about
as
multiple crazy serial killers.
Right. Yeah.
Multiple crazy serial killers.
And what's funny because Michael Mann had directed Manhunter.
Yeah.
With Brian Cox as the Hannibal Lecter, and I like Brian Cox as an actor. He's fantastic in Braveheart, but I thought he was miscast in Manhunter. Yeah. And it's funny, and it's how great Hopkins was as him. Now that Mads Mikkelsen also makes a great, even more better. Hannibal on the NBC show that ran for I think 2 seasons, but for both of them it gave them both big jumps to their career because they could do Hannibal Lecter And kudos to Jonathan Demme for taking on that book. Jodie Foster was made into a huge superstar after that. Everybody associated with that movie could look back proudly on making that film. So here's to you, Jonathan Demme. Rest in peace.
My beer is empty.
873. That's on you, dog. Okay, so thanks for joining us for this impromptu episode of the 5 most rewatchable horror films. I know there's a zillion more, but there's just five to look at. And go see Triangle. Triangle is the newest one on that list for me. It's a creepy movie. It's very well shot. The actress, I'm surprised she's not a bigger star lead. I don't know the name her yet. Maybe that's why her name's on. But go see that and support anyone you know that's trying to make movies and go out there and watch movies. And we will see you next time on Two Fat Drunks. Auxiliary drunk number 1. Oh, there we go.
That's why we're drunks. We're empty.
Not empty.
Yeah, well, kind of.
I'll see you next time.
Next time. Or else it gets the hose again.
Put the lotion in the basket.
I'd fuck me. I'd fuck me.
Oh, Jeremy. All right, that'll have to do.